Hello everyone. We're going to do a turning exercise together for lathe manufacturing. Let's go ahead and get started by understanding the geometry that we want to manufacture. So looking at the geometry, what we're going to manufacture is this part. This part has very obviously two sets. It has a set where we have to access it from one side and another from the other side. So if you want, this is like a separation plane for the part. And so this means that this part is going to be flipped. We're going to go ahead and manufacture everything at the start from one side, get to a certain point, and then finish everything else. There are several ways to do that. We can do that with one process plan where we have all this part, or my preferred method, which is we create two processes, like one process that would get you all the way to one step of it, and then another process where we will use the final. So like let's say process one. So process one takes you from a first billet that is completely cylindrical to like a billet that is a little bit cylindrical from one side, so that's gonna leave that area, but from the other side it's finished. Then this one, we will use it for process 2 as a billet, but we would have flipped it around. So basically the part would be here and the cylinder would be here. We would clamp it in this location and we would manufacture here so that we obtain the final part. This is how I'm going to do it. You could have done it in one file. That doesn't matter. This is just procedural. At the end, you're gonna have two G codes that are gonna run on the machine, or you can even have them one code that has a pause between them that asks the operator, flip the part, verify the reference, and so on. For us, we're gonna have two G codes. We're gonna suppose we are doing mass production. Like this whole portion gets done on a part. A robot comes, picks it up, take it to another fixture, goes to somewhere else, load it, gets it attached, and we're gonna do the other part from the other side. So this means that we're going to have two programming points for our two codes, because we're going to be coming from that side to manufacture here, and we're going to be coming from that side to manufacture here. So let's go ahead and take a look into, so let's switch to CATIA. So this is CATIA. Let's go ahead and start with our part design. So as you got used now to, I would like to start with the billet. So let's go back here, take a look here a little bit. So what we have is, what's the biggest dimension? We have 100 diameter, the biggest, so we're gonna make our billet 120. And we have from here to here 200, we're gonna make it 220. Obviously, this is not how we do it. At industry, in your workplace, what you would do is you need a minimum of 100 and 200. You look into your catalogs of what's available. If 105 and 215 is the closest available that would fit this whole element in it, then this is what you would go for. For us, we're going with 120 to 20. We're going to be removing some material from the excess from here, and we're gonna leave also 10 millimeters from each side to do like better quality of facing and so on. All right, so going back to CATIA. So let's go ahead and start with our design. As you remember, all lathe happens in the XZ plane. So actually what we can do, we can start first of all with, where is this? Sketch, XZ plane. So keep in mind that this is your Z plane. This is your X plane. And what we want to do is we always want to, going back here, let's take a look here. We always want to use this as your Z axis, and you want to put your X axis according to the Z convention, Z positive, Z negative here, where you have your 10 millimeters. So in our scenario, it's very important to highlight that this is the z-axis and this is the x-axis, and what we want is we want to create all of our part in the negative value. So let's go ahead and create our billet. So we're gonna do a profile. The profile is going to go, what did we say dimensions? 120. So obviously 120, that's like almost 60. We go back, we said 220, and we come down here. All right, so this is our profile. So I did not have some of the things active, like the constraints automatic creation. We're gonna make sure that this is horizontal. Oh, actually this is not horizontal. Actually, this is funny because because we're using the Z plane along the orientation, the X, this becomes the vertical, and that's totally fine. So we're gonna make sure this is vertical. We're gonna make sure that this is horizontal. All right, we're gonna start putting dimensions. So we're going to go ahead and put a dimension here and a dimension here. And what were the dimensions? 60 by 220. And that's it. Next thing is we're just gonna put the axis, the z-axis for turning. So we just put it around this and we close our part. And now we just have to press the shaft, revolve, and you have your billet. So keep in mind that this is your orientation. This is how your orientation is. We're going to hide all of these, hide show. We're going to create geometrical reference, and we're going to say references here and start with a point 0, 0, 0. So this is our programming point. We're going to create let's create a tool retract point. So the tool retract point is going to be like, let's say almost 200 by 200. So this is where we're going to say, hey, we come rapidly to this point. We can make it a bit closer. Let's make it 100 by 200, 100 by 150, preview. So this is the tool retract point. And then we're also going to create a machine origin, and we're going to make the machine origin, let's make it very far, because that's very logical for it to be very far. So we're going to have to, let's go ahead and name these things. So actually, let's do something. Let's name these, all of this, references A, because we're going to use them for process A. So this is a programming reference. This is my tool approach retract, and this is my machine origin. So, and going back to my programming reference, we're going to just put this as reddish. We're touching the material. We're gonna do this as yellowish, like, hey, you're in, and this one green. This is where you do a tool change. I mean, these are not conventions. You do as you please. So let's save the part just to be sure we're saving. So we're gonna go to the desktop and we're going to create a folder for us. Inside that folder, we're going to make sure that we do parts, product, process, NC code. All right, so go to parts. This is, we're gonna save the billet. We're gonna create a new geometrical reference. So we're gonna call this references B. So once again, this is A. We're going to come to do this manufacturing. This is B. We're coming to do the manufacturing from that side. So this is what's going on. And we're going to create a point on the surface. What did I do? Did I press point? Okay, so point. We're gonna create it on plane, on surface here. So it's gonna be this point in the center. So here we go. Okay, actually, I don't know where we created it, but we wanted 0, so we want it centered. And now we're going to create a point. So it's not on surface, it's coordinates, but we wanted to do it with respect to that point. Ta-da! So in here, keep in mind things has to be negative. So with respect to this point, we want to go. So what am I doing here? Let's start with the tool retract. So the tool retract, it has to go like along Z, it's gonna be negative. So it's going to be negative, and if my calculation is not wrong, negative 200. That's my. We're doing it with respect to this point, and then this is gonna be a negative 200 here. So okay, so what did we put here? We put here 150, I think. Hold on. Let's make sure that we do it symmetrical. I think we did 100 and 150. Yep, that's what we did. Okay, so we did 100 and 150 for this one. So this is symmetrical. I'm not gonna guess. What did we do here? 200 and 500. So we're gonna do another point with respect to, once again, we're gonna select this point as our reference, and we're gonna do, it was 200 and minus 500 for the machine origin. Okay, good. So we've built them with respect to this. Now we're gonna rename them because it's important to name everything the right way. This is programming reference. This is okay, I just verified I'm recording because programming reference, this is tool approach retract, and this is machine origin that we're going to use from the other side. So Alt Enter, we're gonna do this one also reddish. This is, we are on the part. We're going to do this one yellowish, and we're going to do this one greenish. File, save all. Yes, we have our part, we have our billet. I'm going to create another geometrical set, and I'm just gonna call it axis, just in case we need it. I'm not sure we're really going to need it, but I'm just going to create my Z axis, and we're going to extend it 50 by 50 from both sides. So not the, like, I am sure we're not going to need it, but because we're doing this double process, I prefer to have everything ahead of time. And I'm going to create two x-axis. So let's see, point direction, and the direction is going to be the x component, and the point is going to be, this one. So let's go ahead and do this one x, and only do it in the positive sense, and do it 100. Let's see. Okay, that's good enough for me. And we're gonna call this x ref a, just to remember this is for reference A. I'm fairly positive we're not gonna have to use this, but you know, and xb, you know, being prepared, x ref b. Okay, cool. So with all being set, I'm gonna define, where is this? Define work and object, set this one here. We're gonna show the sketch in here. So, and we're going to change the graphic on the sketch, make it orange and very thick, so that we know we're starting from that point. We're going to properties of the part body, set a small transparency, and also make it starting yellowish orangey. Very good. We are all set. I'm gonna hide this to clean it up, and I'm gonna hide this, and I'm gonna hide this only if we need them. And also I'm going to hide this axis and hide this axis. Like this, we have our part billet ready. Save all. We are now set. What we're going to do is we're gonna move file, save as. We're going to create the part. Oops. Let's save. Okay, here. We're going to create part. Let's zoom in a little bit to make sure that everybody sees that. Let's go back here a little bit. Okay, so how are we gonna do this? My method is not gonna be your preferred method because I like to create everything from scratch myself and then put attachments. So first thing you want to do is properties. You wanna make sure that you name this also part because we saved as to use this as reference element. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through the sketch. I'm gonna flip this a little bit here. And I should perhaps learn a technique of how we can do it instead of me every time trying to. Let's see, let's have fun. So let's see if one of these might cut it. Nope, that's definitely not. So front and back won't cut it. Let's see if the left would cut it. I mean, this is it, but what we wanted is in the other orientation. So let's try this one. Yep, nothing works. So we go back and I'm going to set it myself. Very simple rotation. Here we go. Okay, cool. What I'm going to do now is I am going to take my billet and I'm going to create it as a construction element like this. I know I am going to work in these boundaries. Then I'm going to create a profile. That profile I don't want it to have any dimensional constraints, but I want it to have some geometrical constraints like angles and whatnot. And we're going to start building from somewhere here. We're going to be putting dimensions. So we go here, we go like this, a little bit like this. We go here, we go down, we go up, we go down, we move. So this is my method. This is not necessarily, I mean, this is how I am used to creating things. I just create them, create the profile, and from the profile I would put dimensions. So this is way too big, and we go down to that level, okay, and then we go here. That's like almost 45, and then we go up, we go a little bit like this, we go down to, I don't know which level to, yes, we go down to this level here, we go a little bit, we then go down to another level here, and we go like this. Very obviously this is not, okay, I don't want any constraints here because this is looking as going to confuse me. So although it looks like it's doing a constraint, because I click this one, it's not going to do it. And then here. Okay, so I've created what I think looks like the profile. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start creating some dimensions and making sure this is iso constraint. So literally I am looking at this part, and I'm looking at this part, and I try to create that these lines like are aligned with a constraint that these ones are. I might have failed. We'll discover that shortly. But what we're going to start to do is putting some of these dimensions and see how it influences. So you can always double click if you're sure of several things you're going to do. So I'm gonna start with this one here, and then I'm going to click from here to here, one of them here, and then from here to here, another one. and then from here to here, a third one. Here we go. So that looks like it's doing its trick. Let's put the right dimensions. I always start with the bigger one. So this one should be how much? So I'm looking at the graphic here. We're looking at this. Oops. We're looking at this one. This one is a 50. This one is a 30. This one is a 20. And this one is a 16. I mean, this is diameter radius. So let's go back to CATIA. So this one should be a 50. So we put 50. Then this one should be a, what should be this one? A 30. Oops. This one a 30. This one is a 20. This one is a 16. We're going to, I mean, you see you can move stuff around, and like in here, you see from that dimension that you can move stuff around also as well. So, I mean, this is very, very useful. Okay, good. So we did the first part. Now we're going to do, so there's a 45 here, and there's this, okay, there's a 16 on the other side as well. I did not notice that. So let's put this as a 16 as well. Cool. Now, let's start with some other dimensions. So from here to here, we have 10. So let's go ahead and put from here to here, we have 10. So you can see the green starting to build up. This one is a 45, and it's going from 16 to 20. So this means this is 4 in the horizontal. So let's go ahead and put this dimension as a horizontal. Nope, sorry, vertical. I keep forgetting that, because we have flipped the Z and X axis. So that's a 4. Cool. So then we have a dimension here of 15. So we can put a dimension here of 15. And so obviously this one here needs to be rotated like this. So you can move things around. So let's move some things so that they look like what it is anticipated. Yeah, we'll leave this to dimensions. Okay, everything else looks good. So here we have, this is 5 and it's going down 4. So this is 5 and it's going down 4. So from here to here, this is a 4. So let's change this to 4 and let's change this to 5. Once again, everybody has their techniques. I mean, you can do whatever you want. This is really your call. So here it looks like there is no dimension on the chart. So but obviously then we have to put the 200. So from here to here, that's going to be a 200. And this one will be automatically calculated on its own eventually after we put all said and done. So if we do a little bit from the other side, okay, so we have a 30 from here to here. Actually, what I would like to do is I would like to do the same thing. I would like to do the 4 from this point to this point. Once again, it's your call to do however you want to do it. So 4, this leaves this as 26. So this is a 26. This makes this a 10. This makes this a 20. You can see how the whole part is starting to turn green. ISO constraint, this means that we're getting all the dimensions in order. This turns to 45. This is good. We're almost there. This is an 8. So I'm just following up the chart. This little groove is once again 5 and 4. So let's go ahead and do, this is, what did I press here? This is a 5. And we're going to press from here to here and make it a 4. And then what do I have? This is a 30. And we have our part. So let's see, did we mess up something? Yes, we did mess up something. The 15 is from here to here, and I put 15 here, so that should be an 11. Here we go. So let's verify it very, very quickly. I mean, what we're doing is we're looking at both of them at the same time and verifying. So we have 16 here. I see that the 32. We have a 4 because there's a 45-degree angle and we're going from 16 to 20. We have an 11, so that's a total of 15 to here. That's fine. We have a 5 and a depth of 4. We don't know this dimension, but we know all of this is 200, so this is 10 from each side. That's fine. We have a 30, we have an 8, that's an 8. We have a 5 and a 4, that's correct. Then we have a 45, we have a 20, we have a 10, that's the 10. So you can always like change where they are located. I mean, if you want them to appear nicer, you can play around with this. So 10, 26 and 4, 26, 4, 16. Okay, so we are all good. If we leave, it should just update the part. Edges or face. Oh yeah, this is for the reference elements in B. Because I've used the face for reference in B. Okay, Rami. All right. And that is fine. I am going to delete them from here anyways because I don't need them in here. I need them in the I actually only need them in the billet, so I can delete all of this. No issues whatsoever. They are really not needed in here. So file, save all. Yep. All right, so this is, okay, let's go back here. This is what we decided. We decided we're going to do the part and we're going to do the billet. So now we're going to do an intermediate part. So file, save all, file, save as. We're going to call a intermediate. And let's go ahead and make sure that in here we do the intermediate, apply. So what we're going to do in this intermediate is we're going to go back to the sketch. We're going to say that, hey, we're going to finish all of that portion at the start, but these stuff in here, so this part actually will not be done. So I'm gonna take these, put these as construction element, and then come back and create something that, here we go, something that follows the profile. So when I leave now, look at this, I have all of this component. So this is gonna be my intermediate billet. So file, save all, yes, I'm gonna close, and we're gonna move to create the assembly product. And after that, I'm going to stop the recording, take a break, and then continue with the manufacturing. All right, so what am I doing here? Product, assembly design, insert, existing component. That should be fairly easy because we've done everything right in the right order and the right references. So basically we have it all set the right way. You can see here the 3 profiles. We're going to, let's reframe on here so that it stops moving everywhere. So let's go ahead and file, save. We're going to the product and PRDRH, tutorial 10 or whatever, like part. No, let's call it full V01. All right, now let's come here. The final part, I want to change the properties. I want to remove any transparency and make it something apparent. So you can see here the final part. The intermediate one, I want to, properties, I want to have less transparency. I don't know if I can do, well, let's see if we do like some other color, purple. See if, okay, here we go. We have everything in the same one. It's awesome. So we have everything that needs to be done. in the manufacturing. I'm gonna save all, yes, and I'm going to hide the shafts now because we don't really need them, we just need the references. Hide, and in here we're going to hide, and what I'm going to do is the original billet, we're going to put it in red, and let's change the type to something dashed. So here we got it in red. The intermediate one, we're gonna put it in yellow, and we're gonna give it less thickness so that it's apparent. So this is the intermediate one, and the final one is an orange. Now this is what we're going to manufacture. So file, save all. Now all we have to do is move to the process and actually start the manufacturing process. So start machining, lace machining, and everything can be done in that same file now. So we can create all the references that we want. We can, so I said I'm going to do it in 2 steps. So for this first step, I don't need my final part, because what I'm going to go is from the red to to this yellow one. So I'm going to save the process. We said we're going to call it process A, PRCRH. Let's call it just A or pros A and V01. So this is my first manufacturing. As always, we start by setting up the machine. So you want to set up your lace machine. You want to make sure that you have some stuff specified in here. I'm just randomly putting something to generate a G code for us. Obviously, you need to have the actual machine. The reference element is very correct. This is X, this is Z, so it is where we want it to be. The part, this is the part. Okay, actually, nope, this is not the part. Reset. The part, this is the part profile. The stock, this is the one. By the way, I'm double clicking for it to come back. And sometimes it's better to, so here we have X0, Z100. So the change point is somewhere here. Sometimes if you want to like make sure you don't have some conflicts, you can like take it a little bit higher so that the machine knows how to go back and come back. So this is my reference, everything is set. I'm going to press a save all because I just don't want any surprises. The good thing about manufacturing lace is that you follow sequentially the icons that you have. So you always start with a roughing operation. You follow it up with a roughing for grooves. You follow it up with, if there is recess turning, we don't have it in here. You do profile finishing, you do groove finishing, and then you do threading, which we have a thread in here, like, and we have the profile. So let's go ahead and get started with a rough turning operation. So we're gonna go ahead and select the billet, and then we're going to go ahead and select the part. So you can also say there is something that is like, you can select all the way up to a part. So here we go, we do this. I should have left this one common between both of them so that I don't have any bad manufacturing in here. So what I'm talking about is in here. Sorry, I don't know where I'm pressing. What I'm talking about is in here, in this location, I should have left this profile in both of them, and I should have finished it in both of them, or at least, because right now I'm gonna come and finish here. The other side is I'm gonna come and finish here. So this might leave room for something in here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna over travel from the other side. This is how we're going to solve it. All right, so this is my profile. You have to make sure that your selection, like, I mean, this is your depth of cut 3. You can change that to whatever it is needed for you. This, you always have these 5 strategies. So the turning tool, making sure you're selecting the right inserts, the right tools, everything. I'm going to So we're going to activate the approach, and what we're going to always click is these are reference A. So we're gonna use the tool approach retract from here. And sometimes we're going to be innovative in this, and that's fine. You press, this is the tool motion that you have, and this is the expected results for a roughing operation. All right, so let's go ahead and continue. I know I said I'm gonna take a break, but I'm excited, so I'm just gonna keep going. All right, so this is the first part. Make sure you come and you select the operation before you go on to the next one. So we're going to do the grooves in here. So there's several grooves that we need to finish. So here you have to select the stock element, and then you come and you select your groove. So this is your groove. Make sure that everything, so make sure the clearances and everything. So sometimes here, the groove tool, so you can see in here, this 10 millimeters might not be enough here. So we might as well just put 20. I mean, you don't change things in here. You actually load the right tool, but for the sake of this exercise. So I never like the approach to be straightforward for grooves. I like them to be coming in an actual radial position and then leaving in a radial actual position. If you don't do that, sometimes what can happen is the tool can come and hit this orientation, and what you want is you want it to come this way, go down, go up, and go back. So this is my first roughing roughing for grooves operation. This is good. We're gonna click OK on that. We're gonna do this again with the same tool, the stock. We're going to, so I double click a lot, by the way. I mean, you'll get used to this. Here we have this, that's good. So if we come and play the video, it should be doing this. And we have one more to go. So we're going to do this here, and we're going to come from this stock as well. And we're going to do this location. So now we have all three grooves. We can actually play the video and see how they look like. It looks perfect. This is all my roughing operations. So we're gonna associate the video. We click OK, and we are good for our roughing operations. Now we're going to sequentially move. We don't have any recess turning. We're gonna do a profile finishing. Obviously for the profile finishing, like you should go back to selecting the right tool. So you can click in here and load the right tool that we have. So let's say you use another tool, you use the right insert. So you can also use something from the tools that we already have. So like you can always click here, and let's say you use a different tool. You can search for what you have and from the database and so on. So I mean, this is, so we're going to go ahead and select all the way here. This is, we're going for a finishing operation. Make sure you use the strategy that you want. Approach, let's see if it still have it stuck. Yeah, it still have it, the right one. So we're gonna come here. Now after this, we're doing a finishing. It looks beautiful. We're gonna save that. And now we're gonna move to, as we're going sequentially, we're going to now finish the grooves. So groove finish operations. We're going to come here, select that groove to finish. So what did I want to verify here? The tool, make sure that you have the right tool. Yep, we have the right tool. Approach. So once again, I'm gonna leave it to show you like potential issues that might happen. I don't know if they will arise now, but let's see. So this is, we're finishing this location here. Let's see what happens. Well, it is good. So we're gonna keep it this way. Let's go ahead and I want to press save all just in case, you know, sometimes you just do that in case what if something happens. So we're gonna do another finishing operation. You can press F3 if this is bothering you and you just want to see your actual part. And we're going to compute that. Okay, you see here, this is the issue I was talking about. I'm gonna show it to you. So look at what happens. Instead of the tool going out and coming back, look at what happened. It just manufactured here where it should not manufacture. So this is how we fix it. You go back here and you use this approach, the actual radial, and let's bring back the design tree, and you select the point. So you force it to come in a certain way. You force it to come in a certain way to your part. So look at now the change. So actually I didn't force the one before. So this one is good. We have to come back here, change this one here to our performance as expected here. Where is this here? This point, and this one here, we're gonna go radial then actual. So here, and now this is going to be the right way. So let's see now the result. Actually, let's go ahead and do the third groove. So watch out for this. If you have pressed here and you click something, it's gonna create under it. So I want it after here. So I'm going to click groove finish on the third one. And we're going to generate this. And now we're going to create the video for all of them, and hopefully, well, actually there's still an issue here. So let's see what we did not compute. So going back one by one, we're gonna do this. We're gonna come here. We're gonna do this. So this is done. We're gonna associate the video. We're gonna come back here. We're gonna compute this. So that should not happen. That should have traveled back home here. Tool, approach, retract. Tool, oh, did I activate it? Aha. You have to activate it. Because it is the same tool. It is going to try to, okay, good. So we are good. So let's go back here. It is the same tool. If you don't activate it, it's not gonna going to do it. It's gonna try to optimize the manufacturing. So let's see that we've done it right. Okay, we've done it right. Perfect. You see now the finishing stage. We're going to save all of this. And we're going to move to the last step, which is a very simple threading operation. And we're going to select the thread. This is where we're going to do it. And we're going to, I forgot what I wanted to select here, but we're going to do this way. And looking at the dimension, we have a pitch dimension of 2 millimeters. So this is self-explanatory. I mean, this is what we're talking about, the information that you have in here. And let's make sure that we put the lengths 11 millimeters. So let's see this one. Well, it looks perfect. So we go here, we created, and we have our thread. So this is a beautiful thread that we have. So we have a thread according to the pitch that was provided. We have the part, we save, and we are done with our first, so save all. We are done with our first process, so we can actually go ahead and create the G code needed for this operation. So let's output file as the same cat process. We can live with that. NC code, execute, and all right. So let's see. I mean, I didn't really use the right post processor, the right things. We're just creating these things. So if we come here, it has created your cat process file, which is your G code. This is not really the right way to do it. I mean, you have to select the post processor of your machine, but here you go. This is your G code that technically is supposed to call on the tools and do everything that you're supposed to be doing. Well, you really don't want a machining time of of that much, 104 hours. So definitely there is some changes in parameters, but that's not the goal from this exercise. All right, File, Save All. Now what we're going to do is as simple as we're going to close all of this. We come back to this product. We're going to go start process again. And lathe machining. So file, save. Let's save that as process B. So now what we have is, now let's go ahead and put our part. Now we no longer have this one. We no longer have this billet. So we're going to hide all of this because we're starting from here. And now we are going to fix our part from this side and actually manufacture from that side. So we're gonna start our part process, machine selected, that's our horizontal lathe. Once again, I'm using not the right post processor. This is a discussion for a different day, but this is just default reference. We're going to go ahead and make sure that our reference is, so let's start with the point. It's going to be here. Our x-axis is located right. Our z-axis needs to be just reversed. And this is now our manufacturing reference. Very, very important. The part, this is going to be the part. The stock, this is going to be the stock. Position, so we have to change some of these things. We will do them. So here, let's just put here 100. You see, we moved it up. All right, did I forget anything? Well, we will know very, very shortly, because all we have to do is a roughing operation here. So let's start with the roughing operation. We're going to select the billet and we're going to select the part. So we're going to end limit, like we're going to out of it, or like we can change to ask it to do more, and like how much offset you want it to be. Like I'll go ahead and press these buttons. Okay, this is definitely not a roughing tool, so make sure you'll definitely have to select the right roughing tools, but this is definitely not your roughing tool. So we come here. Now you see this is what I'm talking about, this element in here. So we do some over travel here. So this is the part that we've done before. Now we have our part fixed from here and we're manufacturing from this side. Let's see if the finishing stage would be what would help with this. If not a simple over travel. So profile finishing, and we are done. This is basically it. So end limit offset, let's see if we change this a little bit. You know what, I should not. I should do it as is and see what we have result. Okay, that's it, it's gonna be gone. So that's good. This ring over there is not gonna be existing. So by the way, you can play the code. A lot of time you see me like, because force of habit, but you can play the code slowly like this. All right, cool. And with that, we are done. All you have to do is generate the other G code, and now we have our part. We've finished our tutorial, all of it. The only thing I hope is that I was recording all this time. Have a great rest of the day. Thank you.